And cherry on the cake, my favorite player playing Pokemon VGC actually won the tournament. And I was right there, front row, seeing Wolfe Glick winning the EUIC 2025. It was pretty insane, but I'll come back to that in just a second. I was born in 1996, and I remember myself as a kid growing up in the 2000s. I remember my old Game Boy Color. It was a purple console, and I used to play on that so much. I remember I had Pokemon Crystal and also Pokemon Silver. I think I had like hundreds of hours easily in the games. I remember as a kid really hoping that maybe one day I'll be competing in Pokemon tournaments, that maybe I was in a position in which, I don't know, I'd become a Pokemon champion, at least, you know, in an online format or something. So in 2024, so this was like last year, I was like, hey, look, I now have some, let's say, adult money at hand. Let's do something, I want to say irresponsible, but let's do something crazy and heal my inner child. Let's put it like this. I wanted to make my inner child happy. So in order to do that, I was like, okay, you know what? What's the biggest Pokemon event in Europe that I can attend without being a competitor? I just wanted to spectate. I just wanted to see the competition. And the biggest, which I was able to find, was Pokémon EUIC, which stands for European International Championship, which includes all of the games that I've mentioned before. So Pokemon TCG, Pokemon VGC, Go, and Unite, in probably one of the most competitive tournaments that it exists. I think above this line is only the Pokemon Worlds, which usually it's not being held in Europe. And I was like, okay, well, it is what it is. So yes, I decided to, you know, fly to London and enjoy the competition. I did that in 2024. I've also did this in 2025, so a couple of months ago. I'm currently recording in August. It's almost time for Pokemon Worlds, which is amazing. But I did fly to London back in February of this year, so a couple of months ago. Now, honestly, I think 2024 was a very emotional experience for me because I've always wanted to be part of a Pokemon event, and finally being able to attend such event was a very fulfilling experience for me. So in 2025, I kind of knew what to expect. I kind of knew the dynamics, I kind of knew the arena, but I was like, hey, like in 2024, it was super fun. I had a lot of good time. The vibes were amazing. It felt like a real competition, right? Like it felt like being on a stadium somewhere in Barcelona and seeing your favorite team play. It kind of gave similar vibes, right? In terms of atmosphere and people, you know, cheering for their favorites and so on and so forth. But then in 2025, to my surprise, the EUIC 2025 in London was one of the biggest Pokemon events ever. Which again, for me, it's pretty crazy. And I've actually attended. And cherry on the cake, my favorite player playing Pokemon VGC actually won the tournament. And I was right there, front row, seeing Wolfe Glick winning the EUIC 2025. It was pretty insane. Again, I think XL London is simply amazing. It's a huge venue. The full venue, exactly as it was in 2024, was full of stuff. A lot of Pokemons around, a lot of activities, a lot of people with a good vibe, and like the whole venue was organized in such a careful way to make sure that people have a good time, or at least that's what I felt like. I remember seeing a lot of activities being available to play for anyone. To give you a couple of examples, like you could guess a Pokemon, right? And then you would get some prizes. What else? You could throw some rings and again, get some prizes. then you would be able to play this game. I'm not sure what's the English word for it, but you were able to basically flip boards like one by one, and you'd have to do pairs of images. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. And then of course you could also eat, you could drink, you could trade cards with people. You had a place in which you could do origami, which was really cool. A lot of places which shows the history of the game, especially on the competitional side of the game. And you'd be able to see like this whole simple Hall of Fame of TCG, a simple Hall of Fame. I think also for VGC I saw something. You were able to see like old consoles, which again was pretty cool. I also have a small collection myself, but I was able like to see all the consoles, old games and stuff like that. So as I've told you, it felt everything felt very intentional to begin with, and it felt that, you know, each and every single space was like honoring Pokemon on a greater scale. I would say the highlight of the day was the Pokémon Center. The Pokémon Center was, yeah, I would say a fun and very expensive experience for myself. I think I spent around £400 on a lot of Pokemon merch, not just for myself, just want to make that clear. I've also bought a lot of gifts. But overall, the experience was really fun. As I've mentioned in the beginning, I think my inner child was very happy as, you know, I was pushing stuff into my cart. So on Saturday, because obviously it was kind of late, and I think a lot of participants also got eliminated, obviously, I was able to, you know, get some images from the overall arena, so you can see how many seats. You can see from a logistical perspective how difficult it is to organize such event, having, you know, thousands of people competing in these games. It's pretty hard to manage objectively. Like, imagine the number of judges, imagine the number of people that are responsible for the actual logistics of the event. It was quite inspiring to see. Coming back to my initial story, you know, being a kid and being so close to this game, playing it almost every single summer and whenever I didn't have homework to do, seeing that in 2025 the game is so loved by so many people, and that, you know, the organizers and also the Pokemon company puts such a high effort into making this type of event extremely successful, made me very happy. I think as a kid I picked the game correctly. Let's put it like this. So this was a small story about myself during EUIC 2025 and also a tiny bit of 2024. If you're also a Pokemon fan, drop me a message below, drop something in the comment section. I'd love to hear if you've been to any Pokemon events or if you're planning to be at any Pokemon events in the future. I'd love to know, how was the Pokemon experience for you? If you also like games, generally speaking, feel free to subscribe. I speak about the psychology of games, and I'm planning of doing many Pokemon videos in the future. So looking forward to having you on my channel. Until next time, game on.